Welcome back to the program Super Memory for School. Today, Mr. Hui will join you guys in Unit 15, Computers, Lesson 2. First, let's find out the meaning of new vocabulary in today's lesson. Here we have requirements. Requirements. When we apply for a job, the employer definitely needs the requirements about yourself. University. University. User. User. A user is a person who uses something. We use a computer program, then we are the user of the program. College, campus. College, campus. Jack. Jack. This is the connection between electronic devices. Please look at the jack of an electronic device. Bulletin board. Bulletin board. Notice board. The announcement board or the wall newspapers in the secondary school is a bulletin board. Degree. Degree. Moreover, we learned that degree also means, but in today's lesson, degree has the meaning diary. Diary. It is what we write down daily, and on some days we open and read about the day we noted down. Exchange. Exchange. This is not selling and buying. This is we trade something for someone, and we get their items in return. Make note. Make note. The teacher asks the student to make notes about important parts of the lesson. Unplug. Unplug. In the previous lesson, we learned that plug in means to insert to the power socket. In this lesson, there is an antonym to plug in that is unplug. Unplug means to pull out of the power socket. Skeptical about. Skeptical about. It means being unsure about something. And in today's grammar section, we will learn how to distinguish the past simple tense. Studied in grade 7, and the present perfect tense we learned in the first semester in English 8. And how can we distinguish them? The two tenses are easily mistaken. Now let's find out in the lesson. The first difference is the formula. In the past simple tense, we have the affirmative formula, subject plus verb 2, ed. The second column of the regular verb. And in the present perfect tense, we have subject plus have has plus verb 3 ed, the third column of the irregular verb. In the negative sentence of the past simple tense, we use an auxiliary verb, didn't plus verb 1, verb bear. The verb returns to the original form. In the present perfect tense, we have subject plus haven't, hasn't plus verb 3 ed. This means we add not between have and has, and the verb is verb 3 ed. For the yes-no question, the past simple, we will bring the auxiliary verb did to the beginning of the sentence. Next is subject plus verb in original form, v1. In the present perfect, we move have has to the beginning and we don't use any auxiliary verbs here. Next is the subject after that. This is the first difference between simple past and present perfect. Now we will learn some ways to tell the differences between the two tenses. The second note is that the simple past tense expresses the event finished in the past. Now look at the emphasized point I made. You can see that the present perfect tense expresses the event that happened in the past, but continues to happen now. Here I have two examples. I lived in Hanoi for 10 years. I have lived in Hanoi for 10 years. The first sentence, I lived in Hanoi for 10 years, states that the event is in the past. In other words, it is the year 2021. I lived in Hanoi from 1990 to the 2000s, then I moved to another place outside Hanoi to live. The second sentence, I have lived in Hanoi for 10 years, means that I am still living in Hanoi now, and up to now, I have lived in Hanoi for 10 years, and I keep living here. That is the difference. Same 10 years, but in the past simple tense, it means not living in Hanoi any longer. And in the present perfect tense, I am still living in Hanoi. Those are the first and second differences. The third note is that the result of action in the past tense won't affect the present because it finished completely in the past. However, the present perfect will affect the present. Please remember that no effect to the present is simple past and effect to the present is present perfect. Let's look at the example. I lost his phone numbers. I lost his number, and now I do not feel the need to look for it anymore. I have lost his phone numbers. So, I can't call him now. The example above doesn't leave any consequence, so we use the simple past tense. However, the below example shows that because we lost the phone number, so now we cannot call him. So we use the present perfect tense. Please pay attention. If the action causes consequence, then we use the present perfect tense. If not, we use the simple past tense. The fourth note is that both of the tenses can be used to express past events. But the major point to distinguish the two tenses is the present perfect expresses a person's experience, time doesn't matter, and the person is alive. But the simple past tense expresses the action when the person is not alive anymore or stops doing it completely. For example, I have been to Sapa 3 times. Means that going to Sapa happened in the past, but I am still alive. So we use the present perfect tense here. Another example, I was a student at Wangchung School, but now I am grown up, so I am not a student in Wangchung School anymore. So we use the simple past tense here. And the final note is that sometimes the present perfect tense can be used to describe an action that happened shortly ago. In this case, we can both use the simple past or present perfect. When using the present perfect, we usually add just recently to describe the action. This is what we have learned in Lesson 1, Unit 15, Computer, isn't it? Just, yet, already. I have just done my homework yesterday. I did my homework yesterday. Both of the sentences emphasize the homework was done yesterday. But if you want to emphasize you have done it just in time, then we use have just. If we completely finished the homework yesterday and we don't say anything about it now, we use the simple past tense, I did. Now let's review all the knowledge we have learned in today's unit. For vocabulary we have requirements, requirements. University, university. User, user. College campus, college campus. Jack, jack. Bulletin board, notice board. Degree, degree. Diary, diary. Exchange, exchange. Make note, make note. Unplug, unplug. Skeptical about, skeptical about. And in today's lesson, we learned how to tell the differences between the simple past tense and the present perfect tense. Besides the formula, please notice the 5 notes I mentioned during the lesson. This is the end of the lesson. See you soon in the next class of the program Supermemory for Schools. Goodbye and see you again.